All right, so you've seen Gavin run the X-10 before here on the channel. Now it's my turn to set one of these up and give it a shot.
Gavin here from ultimatereloader.com. You've met Kyle Shields. He's one of the team members here at Ultimate Reloader. He also has his own channel, DIY Reloading. I'm having Kyle take on some of the more complicated equipment stories here on the channel and also some of the behind the scenes technology. So, Kyle, what do you think about the X-10? You want to get hands-on with this bad boy?
Definitely. It's one I haven't used yet. So.
Yeah. And we've shown it on the channel actually several times. We had an early discussion with Mike Lindsay, the engineer that designed the press. We've had him on in more recent times with the near production machine. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to get this production machine out of the box. We just got that done. It's almost the same thing as what we've shown, but we have some updated things, including the updated instructions and whatnot and the template for the mounting plate. We have a custom mounting plate. I went over that when I did one of the earlier X-10 stories. So the game plan in this video is to put together the latest iteration of the X-10, pretty much what you're going to see if you buy one and unpack it in your garage. Then the real point of this video is to take a look at the new bullet feed system. I talked with Mike Lindsay at the SHOT Show earlier this year about the bullet feed system. I'm really excited to get my hands on it because it sounds like a really great, robust, easy to set up system. So we're going to set up this X-10 press for 9. We're going to get the bullet feeder and the case feeder going. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Kyle, I'm going to have you set everything up, you fine tune everything, and then I'll come back for some of the loading fun.
Cool. Sounds like a plan.
Let's do it. So check it out. We're set up, we're loading 9. Tell me about the process of taking the old press off and getting this set up basically from scratch out of the box, right?
Yeah, it was really good actually. So since I haven't set up a progressive before, I just read the manual. It was really well documented. So it was just a matter of getting the old press unbolted from this plate, getting this press bolted onto the plate, getting the side panels off, and bolting the press down, cinching it down pretty good. Then removing the tool head, cleaning the powder measure, and installing the shell plate, and then getting all the dies set up, the case feed set up, and just doing some function checks with the case feed system as well to make sure everything was working. And then here we are. And it took me a little while just because I'm inexperienced with these things, but it was still really, really easy. So if you have a lot of experience with progressive presses, you could have this set up probably within an hour easily. It's a really smooth press. I really like it.
Yeah, and you know, this press, it goes together nicely. There's just a lot of inherent simplicity to it. For instance, the case feed system doesn't have a lot of parts to it. And yeah, when I've set them up with Mike in the past, they've been good. So I'm glad that you got the experience doing that. And you want to load a few rounds, show us kind of what's going on with this setup?
Sure, let's do it. Checking for powder each time, and I like to go a little bit slower and a little bit more methodical since I'm not quite as experienced with progressives yet. But yeah, that's it. Just make sure you're paying attention to everything going on, and it's really easy.
Yeah, it's good. And you also notice how quiet that is. The case feeder has a completely enclosed lid that seals it off, and that helps keep the noise level down, which is good. Okay, so that's the press without the bullet feeder. Next, let's get this stuff out of the boxes and get the bullet feeder in the mix to see how much better that is. Okay, so we made a little bit of room for the unboxing. Why don't I do the actual assembly itself? And then this kind of comes in two parts. Some bullet feed systems come mostly self-contained with kind of universal parts that you have to adjust and configure, that sort of thing. With this, you get this is the pistol bullet feed base kit, and then you have your caliber specific stuff. So this one is 9mm, which it says right here. Probably says it on the front too. Yeah, so why don't you unbox that? All right. I'll unbox this, talk about what's included. Okay, so we got everything out of the boxes. This is kind of the pistol bullet feeder base kit. This is all the 9mm caliber conversion kit parts. I like the fact that we have a dedicated disc, and then we have the parts for the actual, bullet die and feed setup. What did you do to your instruction booklet? Look at mine. Mine
I
looks
know.
really good.
Yeah, I'm a bit messy, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got a rifle to machine on the lathe. Why don't you take a moment, read through the instructions, put this together, and then we can come back and kind of review the process and load full progressive with bullet feed.
That sounds like fun. Let's do it.
So here it is, X-10 with pistol bullet feeder. This is awesome. Why don't you cycle the press a couple times, show us this thing in action. I kind of can't wait to see it here. Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what's cool, a few things stand out right away. I love the fact that they've got one post. They've got the case feed and they've got the bullet feed. I guess we can close this guy, make it a little bit quieter when we're loading, right? One post, but then also one power connection, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it just piggybacks off of either or, and there's just a little cable that you plug into the out port, and it's ready to go. It's, as far as the install, yeah, it's really clean. Just a couple cables.
Yeah, and compared to Mr. Bullet Feeder, a lot less adjustments and pieces to deal with. This seems like very straightforward. There's only one adjustment, which is the plate height. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah. They give you up to 5 different settings or adjustments, and you just use the screws on the back to change that distance for your bullet height on the bullet plate itself.
Very cool. Okay, so why don't you walk us through, just at a high level, the steps to get this bullet feed system installed on the X-10.
Sure. So what they have you do first is take off the tool head, which includes taking off the powder measure as well. So once you get that clear, you flip this tool head over and you install this little slider.
A shuttle?
A little shuttle, yeah, on the bottom. So this little bullet shuttle, as they call it. And it just has some linear bearings and everything. So you tighten that down, and then you get your tool head back on. And then after that, you get this plastic piece here that will... it's the same size of the bullet, essentially.
So it's like a guide.
Yeah, it's like a bullet guide.
Yep.
And then you get your plastic piece here that has the bullet seeder as well over, and then you start testing out your bullet feeder, making sure that it's sending the bullets the right way, so tip up. And then pretty much just start dialing in your seating depth from there. So, and it has a little micrometer on the side as well. And that's all there really is to it. It's all built in, it's all made for this system, so it's pretty intuitive and straightforward to install.
And then there's also 2 droppers, right? There's one for longer bullets, which you're using because we're using these Berry's 147 grain round nose bullets. You can see how long those are. If we have like flat points or hollow points, something that's a lot shorter, there's this other dropper here. It's kind of an interesting mechanism here. These 2 little rods here, when the case comes up, it pushes them out of the way, and that allows the bullet to drop, and then it gets seated kind of at the same time. So it's an all-in-one station. And what's nice about that is that we can put a powder check die in, which we need to do now that we're getting up to speed. We can have separate bullet seating and crimping, which means those adjustments can be made independently, which is definitely my preference. It makes it a lot easier so that if you have to adjust the crimp, you're not disrupting your bullet seating depth, that kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's really slick. And yeah, that's definitely one thing to note is you do remove any bullet seating die that you have previously. This replaces it. So it makes it even more all-encompassing, all-in-one, which I do like.
Yeah.
So,
well, do you mind if I give it a try?
no, not at all. Go for it.
Let's do it. Okay, so I've run the machine. I have not run it with the bullet feeder. Now, since we don't have the powder check station filled yet, I'm going to look at this angle with this built-in light. I can see the powder. I'm just going to go ahead and give it a go. This is great. Yeah, this is working good. It's super smooth. I love the way this works. We have a station for everything. You know, it gives us complete flexibility on the setup. The way that Frankford Arsenal designed this as a dedicated bullet feed die station, I think, makes a lot of sense. And you notice there's an actual bearing here instead of just a slider like you'd find on some other presses. Really, really good stuff. So this is awesome. I think really all we need now is that powder check in the station just prior to the bullet feed. And man, we're going to be cranking out ammo in absolute volumes. Is there anything else that you're thinking about this setup?
This one in particular, no. That's my same thought. The powder check die would be great on there. I think that would help make this even better. But I'm really liking the setup. I really like how fast you can crank out some ammo, like you mentioned. And yeah, I can't wait to keep using it.
And so this is range pickup, pre-processed brass from a processor, and you never know what you're going to get when you get this brass. So some of the primer pockets were crimped, we noticed, and we used a spray-on lube. So this is coming right out of the bag from the supplier into the case feed bowl, and having that swaging station is that extra bit of insurance in case we have a piece of military brass come through. It's working great. We got the priming system working awesome. There's this low level indicator for that. It gives you a nice beep when it gets down, and auto shut off for the bullet feeder, auto shut off for the case feeder. Good stuff. Here's what we'd like to know is, what do you think of the X-10 with the bullet feeder? Are you running one at home? Tell us about your setup. Tell us about what you're loading on it. Are you looking at one? Tell us what you think of our setup here, and if this is something that you would consider purchasing yourself. Do you have an X-10 story that you'd like to see us do? A particular cartridge or a particular load or a particular scenario? Drop that comment and we'll start the discussion. Thank you, Kyle, for getting us set up here. That was totally awesome. Yeah. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. If you're interested in custom rifles like what we build here on the channel, or gunsmithing services, you're going to want to go to rifles.ultimatereloader.com and get on the wait list. If you want to learn lucrative gunsmithing like what I show here on the channel, including building custom rifles and Cerakote plus a whole bunch more, you're going to want to check out the Colorado School of Trades, schooloftrades.edu. Thanks again for watching.